Hello everyone, welcome back to the Wisconsin Greg Show. I just was driving home the other day when I did a video on Darien, Wisconsin, and I was coming down old Highway 89, which I don't go down very much. I used to go down a lot with my dad when I was younger, but I don't come this way very much, but they got some road construction going on, so I came this way. And on my way home, I noticed this old cemetery here, which I've never known. I've lived in this area my whole life, and I've never noticed it before. I don't know if maybe the sign wasn't here before and I just drove by it, or I just never paid attention, just never noticed it. But anyways, I happened to see the sign and I went home and did a little studying on it. And it's kind of an old cemetery, not used anymore. Very, very small. It's on the corner of Old 89 and School Section Road. Let me turn this camera around here and I'll talk to you a little bit more about it here. This is a sign that's here right now. And the cemetery is pretty much all right behind it. There's very, very small. I think there's only, I can't remember, I think there's almost less than 10 people here. And it's a not active cemetery anymore. They don't use it anymore. It was also called the Chesborough Farm Cemetery. I found out by looking online. It was very hard to find stuff about this. And then it kind of led me to a few other things. When I did find this, I never realized this was called Blooming Prairie, I'm sorry. This used to be kind of like a little tiny town, I guess you'd call it, or I don't know what you'd really call it. It's nothing now. There used to be a schoolhouse down the road, and I found some history on that, which I'll tell you a little bit after I get done here. But yeah, there's not much left of these stones. I can't even read here. Here's another one. Jane. Looks like wife of, I don't know, can't read it, something right. I can't read the years, so old. There ain't much left to this cemetery as far as stones, I'll tell you that. Not sure if they just put these all in one area here, just to, I don't know, so they're out of the way for mowing if they all got broke off. Here's some more in the ground here. Very, very hard to see them. We had some snow the other day. It's mostly all gone. It's 45 degrees today. Here's some more stones over here. These look a little bit more readable. See if we can find any more here. I think that's probably about it. Yeah, that's about all I see right now. Yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna jump back in the truck and tell you a little bit more about this area. Now, I moved down the road just a little bit. I guess this was considered Blooming Prairie also. And I'm at the corner of Highway 11 and Old 89. And this is where supposedly there was an old schoolhouse. There was 3 schoolhouses in the time of Blooming Prairie. And the last one was right in that area. Well, not actually in that area. The last one was in that area at one time. But then, according to the other stuff I found on the internet, they moved it across the street on the side that I'm parked at now, which is between Highway 11 and School Section Road. Why they moved it, I do not know. I don't know if maybe because it was a busy road and they wanted to get the schoolhouse away from the road so the kids wouldn't be on the road or something. I'm not sure why that was. But anyways, I'm gonna move this camera into the vehicle now and talk to you a little bit more here. Just hold on a minute. Okay, I got the camera mounted in the truck here now. So anyways, I'm at the intersection of Highway 11 and Old 89, and right to the left of me is where the old schoolhouse would have been. And I'll tell you a little bit of the stuff that I found out about the old schoolhouse. I'll leave all the links to where I found this stuff. It was pretty hard to find some of it because every time I head in Blooming Prairie, Wisconsin, it would take me to Blooming Prairie, Minnesota, because I guess that's more popular, and there's not a whole lot of stuff on the internet about Blooming Prairie, Wisconsin. But anyways, one thing I thought was kind of interesting is, well, they tell how long they made the school year. I can't remember that right offhand, but it started out at only 3 months a year, and then they ended up extending it, I think, to 7 months a year, if I remember right. And the families that had children in the schools, they had to donate a cord of firewood a year to send their kids to school, which was probably a lot of money back then. Then they started, in one of the articles, it tells how much the school teachers got paid. I think when they first got started, it was like $15 a month. And then it ended up at like around 35, 37, depending on how many kids were in the school and stuff. I thought that was kind of interesting. That was a few years later and stuff. They had 3 different schools. I can't remember when they first all started. Then the last school, they finally closed it, I guess because the public schools all got big, and then they used buses to haul the kids to school, so they didn't use the little schoolhouses anymore. So they ended up closing them up, and they moved the last one that they had here, they moved it to the Elkhorn Walworth County Fairgrounds. And I've seen the schoolhouse there before. I've been in it several times and stuff during the fair, and I never even realized that it was from pretty much my own area. It's probably 7 to 10 miles from my house, where it was originally. I never even heard of Blooming Prairie. I just thought that was somewhere up north or something. I thought they just hauled the schoolhouse down here to the fairgrounds. I guess in May, it sounds like they have some school days in there where they take kids there and teach them what school was like in the olden days and stuff. It's telling in one of the articles how they updated some of the stuff in the schools. Not updated it, but redid it. They had like an old school clock, and they rebuilt that and made it all so it works now, and put a stained glass window in school. I think it's on a door, I can't remember. And it's got the state bird and the state flower on there. It's pretty cool, and it's really, really nice. It's got I think it's got an old wood burner in there and stuff, and old school desks. And it's an old country school. You don't see them anymore. They said they were back then. They were 2 miles apart from each other because the kids had to walk to school. So they didn't want to have them walk more than 2 miles, I guess. 2 miles is pretty bad, especially if we're having a blizzard and stuff. Or they could ride their horses or whatever they did back then. The schoolhouse where my mom went to school is still there, but it's actually a house right now. They remodeled it. It's all into a house. It doesn't look like a schoolhouse anymore. And there's another one a couple miles down the road the other way, and that's a house, and that's all remodeled. It doesn't really look like a schoolhouse. There's a few old schoolhouses around here yet. Some of them are pretty hard to tell just by looking at them that they were schoolhouses because they're remodeled in modern or normal houses now. But anyways, I kind of get confused. It was somewhere around 1959, 1962, I think, right in that area. I get confused the way the articles wrote exactly, but somewhere in that area, they moved this old schoolhouse to the Elkhorn Fairgrounds, which is probably, I don't know, 10, 12 miles from here, something like that. I'm just guessing from where it was located. And I'm going to see if I can get in there and get a video of it and show you the old schoolhouse from Blooming Prairie. The name of Blooming Prairie, from what I understood, was named after a couple settlers. They thought that it was so beautiful around there because of all the wildflowers. A couple that they mentioned was lady slipper wildflowers and shooting star wildflowers. And I've never heard of them before. So I went online on YouTube and I looked it up, and I'll leave the links down there below in the description of this video so you can go check them out. They're pretty cool wildflowers. I've never seen them here in Wisconsin before. I think one of them is actually the wildflower of Minnesota, or the wildflower of Minnesota that they have. And one of the videos that I watched, they were saying Minnesota, it's like a big thing if you even pick or walk on one of them flowers. It's like against the law. It's very, very strict in their state because I don't know if they're rare. I think they're pretty rare. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And anyways, I'm gonna go to the fairgrounds and I'm gonna see if I can get in there and show you the old schoolhouse. Just wanted to mention, I'm not really a history channel. This is just stuff I do on my own. And I don't say everything that I know. I just tell you some of the highlights that I think are interesting. But I encourage all of you to go out in your own neighborhoods and find this stuff on adventure. Now with the internet, man, you can find a lot of stuff. And, don't believe everything you see or hear on the internet. Sometimes people make mistakes. But you got to kind of put it all together and come up with the best that you can to get the most accuracy. That goes with anything on the internet, even the news nowadays. You can't just listen to one station. You got to listen to a bunch of stations and see which one's telling you the truth. People make mistakes, and sometimes it's done intentionally. You never know. So anyways, I'm gonna run to Elkhorn. I'm gonna go there anyways, and we're going to run through the fairgrounds and show you that old schoolhouse. So we'll be back. I'll be back with you in just a flash. All right, I'm back here. I'm at the Elkhorn Fairgrounds in Walworth County. And this is the old schoolhouse that they moved here years ago. I seen that Blooming Prairie schoolhouse and I had no clue where that was even from. But I'm sure a lot of you guys think I'm pretty stupid, probably locals thinking, wow, you don't know where Blooming Prairie is? But I'm sure if I didn't know, there's probably a lot of other people that didn't know. But this is the old schoolhouse. Still pretty good shape. That's got an old bell up there on top. Let's see if I can zoom in on that. That's pretty cool. I'm not sure when they rang that, when it was time to come back in from recess, or if it was lunchtime. Probably just get back into school when you're outside on break, on recess or something. Playground break. And I went into the fair office and I asked them if it was okay, and they said sure. And they said thanks for asking. Evidently they get some people that don't ask. So, you know, if you're always going to go to someplace like this, always ask it. It's always a good idea. Otherwise it ruins it. Eventually they'll stop it and they won't let other people come in on the fairgrounds when the fair ain't open. Not sure if they take those boards off the windows, or if they don't have no windows in there. They might just put that on for winter. I wonder if this is the old outhouse that was there, or if they just made one or had another one put here from another spot. It'd be interesting to find out. They had a back door. That was probably a requirement with kids back then, so in case there was a fire, you could get the heck out of there, because they did heat it with wood. Now they got another outhouse over here. That's interesting. I wonder if all the schools had 2 outhouses back then. Or, I don't know. It's interesting. See the old chimney up there where the old smoke came out of there for heat. Now they heat it with gas, it looks like. So anyways, that's about it. Wasn't very big. It's one of the articles that I read. I'll try to leave the link in there. It said how big it was. I think it was like 23 foot long. I can't remember how wide it is. I'm not really sure about how wide it was. I can't remember. If I had to guess, I'd say probably maybe 13, 14, 15 feet, right in that area. Pretty small compared to the schools nowadays. And another thing I wanted to mention is in another one of the articles that I have, it shows all the people that are buried in that cemetery over there, has the names. So that's pretty interesting. And one of the school teachers' last names, they have the names of the school teachers in one of the articles, was probably I was related to some. That name is in my history, in my family tree history, and I'm somehow related to them. And that was kind of interesting to find out. So, anyways, I'm going to end this video, and I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about Blooming Prairie and Blooming Prairie School and Blooming Prairie Cemetery. So we'll catch y'all later, and have a great day, everyone. Thanks for watching the Wisconsin Greg Show. Bye now.